Get off that exhausting hamster wheel and into balanced living with Dr. Marissa.
Promise you joy in the mystery.
Dr. Marissa, also known as the Asian Oprah. Her mission, to be a beneficial presence on the planet. Her purpose, to be your personal advocate to live, laugh, love, learn. Her life motto, don't die wondering. Take back your life with Dr. Marissa Pei.
And welcome. You're tuned in to Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show here on KCAA, NBC News, CNBC News, and NBC Sports Radio Station AM 1050, FM 106.5, home to the Asian Oprah, number one talk in the IE. Thank you very much. And streaming everywhere. iHeartRadio, Spotify, iTunes, TuneIn, Audible, Amazon Music, Tiki Live, Rumble, Podchaser, Streaker, Speaker, and more. Why so many places? Well, everywhere else you are going to get some headlines which will always make you either angry, piss-offedness, depressed, afraid, anxious. So 13 years ago, I decided that this show would be a landing base for anyone who wanted some good news, heartlines instead of headlines. And after 685 consecutive weeks, I'm still here and happy to be giving you not just topics and guests, but also great series. And you can see from the beautiful inside and out co-host I have here this morning, it is Wednesday, which is time for Doctors in the House with myself and
Dr. Tiffanie Tate.
She's a U.S. Navy veteran, published author, retired OBGyn from Compton, California. She's a playwright, singer, poet, songwriter, and more. Published author of many books, including important children's books. And her newest is Money Matters. She's also putting her hat in a new ring that she'll tell you about during the commercial break. Please welcome back to my studio, Dr. Tiffanie Tate.
Hello and good morning, all you fabulous people.
And good morning to you. Let's start with breakfast. I'm hungry for a bite of my gratitude sandwich. Top of the bun, things that we're grateful for outside of ourselves. Bottom of the bun, things that we're grateful for inside of ourselves, otherwise known as appreciation. This is also the time when Dr. Tiffanie and I get to catch up from our busy weeks, as we are grateful for all that has passed through. And I do not let her tell me anything until Wednesdays. So, Dr. Tiffanie, what are you grateful for?
Well, I have had a very, very eventful week. This past week, I sat on an awesome forum because many people who have heard during the commercial, I am running for Congress, and I am the only female in the race thus far. And I held my own, needless to say.
Yay! Yay! Let's get... Are you also the only person of color?
I am the only African American. And the only physician running in the race.
I am appreciation trigger happy this morning. And that is so awesome. Really, really, really awesome. We do not talk about politics here because we all know that we're more than our politics, more than our religion. However, I am very proud of my
we're absolutely more than our politics, but
she is doing something that is more than just complaining about what she does not appreciate. So for that, I absolutely give her kudos. So I am grateful that things are progressing in my world tour lineup. I have now, I'll be speaking in all 3 islands in the Hawaiian Islands, which is amazing to me that I'm going back on world tour. For those of you who haven't heard, Canada, July, Africa, August, the islands, September, different places in the States, October, Shanghai, November, and Taiwan, December. So I'll be gone for 6 months, but I will still be broadcasting live from wherever I am, except when the time difference makes me have to get up at 4 in the morning. So, but we'll still be here. Dr. Tiffanie will still be here on Wednesdays, and we'll continue keeping this alive. So, but I am so grateful that I'm back on tour, and I appreciate that.
Well, I just have one question.
Mm.
Can you put me in your suitcase?
Well, then you'll miss all your stuff, though. So
Oh,
yeah, but yes, I'll try. How's that? How's
Okay.
that? Or maybe I'll bring one of your kids in my suitcase, and then you can, because you got a lot to do here.
I do. I really do.
What else are you grateful for?
And I am grateful that I have a lot of people who are in my corner supporting me and helping me. And this has been a fabulous experience thus far.
Fantastic. I am grateful. I have organized all of my earrings and necklaces uh, for the sale this weekend. If you're in Southern California and want to take advantage of my fashionista at discount prices, I'm selling everything that I cannot replace as I venture out. And I'm planning to be back in January. Possibly, if the offer is big enough, I may stay another year, because my tour got cut short by COVID, and I did not go back out. My mom just passed. Some of you know, my bonus mom passed a couple months ago, so it's time. And so if you want to come and shop in my closet, message me and I'll give you the instructions. All right, one more.
And I am grateful that I try to be earthy from time to time. I'm very interested in like reducing, reusing, and recycling and the climate. And I took an avocado, it was a Hass avocado, and I peeled the seed after I, ate the avocado, and I wrapped it in my paper towel, my moist paper towel, and put it in a Ziploc baggie and put it above my stove. I did two. This is a scientific mind of mine. And it has sprouted, and I was able to plant it. And so I am beginning my avocado plant process. And so I've potted it in the soil, and I am beginning to grow my own avocado plants. So I am very grateful for my process for my avocado seeds budding.
Wow. I'm wanted in 5 states for plant killing. So I'm especially proud of you in your ability to do that. Trying to move myself. Can you hear the air conditioner? Is it really loud?
I do not hear it. I just see you blowing in the wind like the diva that you are.
Yes. All right. Let's go to the bottom of the bun, which is weight training for all y'all who are your own worst critic. We're trying to get you to be your best friend and biggest supporter. Thank you for that finger. Someone gave us the finger, not that one, but this one. And encourage you, if you are not driving and tuning in on the AM 1050 FM 106.5 station, to chat with us and have breakfast with us and maybe put down a gratitude or appreciation, but only if you're not driving. So appreciation is something we want you to do before you go to bed tonight. So start gratitude in the morning, end with appreciation. What do you like about yourself? Therefore, you're not walking around looking for love in all the wrong places, asking people to like you, literally in social media these days. Instead, you know what you're good at. You know you're not perfect, but you celebrate the one-of-a-kind wonderful that you are. So this portion highlights, what do you like about yourself, Dr. Tiffanie?
I like the fact that I'm always willing to try something new and different. A lot of times people are afraid to step out of the box, and I break the box. I refuse to be put in a box.
I thought you said you were going
And
to kick the box.
oh no, forget the box. I break it. I abolish it. I say there is no box that I will stay in. And yeah, I break the box.
All
What
right, a little
box?
violent start this morning.
What box? There is no box, people. There is no box.
Yes. Yes, it's a new term actually. We're both multi-hyphenates, which I appreciate that I'm a multi-hyphenate. When someone just told me that a couple months ago, I'm like, is that a good thing or a compliment or an insult? And they said, "Oh no, very good. It means that you're good at a lot of different things and you're not afraid to branch out and do different things." So highly encourage everyone to let go of that stupid saying, jack of all trades, master of none, that keeps us in jobs we don't like, in situations we don't like. Instead, don't quit your job, don't quit your day job, but use your evenings or weekends to explore, learn new things. Learn. I think there's a book in everyone. I think everyone could write a book. You don't need to publish it, but it's a great creative exercise. It's one of the emotions. Creativity is one of the emotions that keep your cells, your immune system healthy. So there's a good reason there.
Oh,
Uh,
absolutely.
your turn.
Yeah, it was interesting. I love talking to people and I love meeting people. And it was interesting. Somebody asked me why I was doing what I was doing. I love mentoring youth and speaking at schools. And someone said, "Well, why are you running for Congress?" And I said, "Because I feel it's necessary at this time." And they said, "Well, why don't you run for school board?" And I said, "Because I am a physician and I want to have an impact on policy because I feel that I have the knowledge for that and I can still mentor youth and I can still help them, but I feel that my needs are needed elsewhere." But I thought it was interesting. They weren't asking the other people why they're not running for school board. And I thought that
Ah.
that was slightly misogynistic and
Mhm,
sexist.
mhm.
And so
God
I
bless
just
them and the
yes, that
horse they
part.
rode in on. Mhm.
That part. And so I just felt, well, I will show you by my capabilities and my knowledge skills. And I just said, well, everyone has their own set of skills and their own knowledge base. And I thought about all the things that I have overcome in my life and all the hurdles that I have overcome in my life. And I just said things that make you go, So here I am, a physician. Here I am, an author. And that's why I said there is no box. And I will not let you put me in a box and try to make me stay in my so-called lane that you want to put me in.
Mhm. Mhm. Good point. I appreciate my ability to know that everything is working for my divine and best good. It's a question that Einstein asks as the most important question a human being can answer. Is the universe friendly or not? If you say it's not friendly, then you're going to constantly hold your breath, uh, afraid of what's going to happen, shoe to drop, the other shoe to drop, or who's going to hurt you, take something from you. Horrible way to live. If you choose instead to say, no matter how it looks out there, especially if you watch the news, I highly recommend that you don't, because the news will tell you that the world is not a friendly place. But I do know to the bottom of my soul that it is a friendly place and that well being is my birthright. And so, no matter how ugly something may appear, it's really not. It just means a year knows what a day doesn't. And I've been experiencing this in big ways, and I'm so grateful that I know this and that it is a part of my life credo, so to speak.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
All right. That's it for
Definitely.
breakfast with Dr. Marissa. And
Dr. Tiffanie Tate.
I encourage you for the next 28 consecutive days to do this good life habit, hashtag Blisscipline, so that you can sandwich your day in the most positive way. Thanks for joining us for breakfast. And now for the topic of the day.
Hey, you! Hey! Hey, you!
Dr. Tiffanie, what is it?
Expectations. Expectations. Are they great? Are they small? What are they? Everyone has them, or do they? Um, and I think it's interesting because sometimes people go through life with expectations, without expectations. And it's interesting because when I was in school, in high school, we read a book called Great Expectations. Um,
I remember that.
mhm. And I think it was a good topic to address right now, especially in light of what I experienced.
Yes,
So,
absolutely. The expectations that were put on you as a woman and a mother to go
mhm.
in to education. I,
Right.
and I actually just looked up the road to hell is paved with good intentions. I wanted to see where that expression came from. And I don't know if you already looked this up. I don't want to take your stuff.
No, no, let's go back
Okay,
and forth. Go ahead.
cool. Came from Saint Bernard of Clairvaux, 10,090 to 1153, and that's his earliest mention. Let's see. And it would appear that he was saying that the failure to act on good intentions lands one in hell, whereas the second and third, the saying, the idea that sometimes well-intended actions can have negative consequences.
Mhm.
So that's where it came from. I love learning stuff like that.
Absolutely. And so, expectations can be good, expectations can be bad. And so basically, expectations are an awaiting of something, and it can be something, basically a belief. And I thought it was interesting because in life, we have always some degree of an expected end. When we wake up and start our day, we have a plan for the day. And we have motivations, we have goals for what we're going to do that day. And we have a driving force, things that are pushing us toward our desired outcomes, whether it's our purpose for the day, whether it's our purpose for life. And I thought it was interesting when this extenuated person on the outside wanted to push his expectation onto my life. So I figured this would just be a good topic to, smack it, flip it up, break it down, per se.
Sounds good. I know that for me, I was introduced to expectations as a means to disappoint you. That if you don't have expectations of others, they will never disappoint you. So that's my personal relationship to expectations. And if I don't have expectations of myself, that I will become a lazy, do nothing. So I have to have some expectations for myself. So
Mhm.
that is kind of my when you texted the topic, that was my immediate go-to. So tell us about what I know you did the research. What
Mhm.
does what's the word, Dr. Tiffany, on expectations?
So basically, there's the good and the bad. So let's talk about the good first before we talk about the bad. So the good part is that it can be motivation and goal setting. It can be a sense of purpose, learning and growth, and it can be a guiding behavior. So let's look at motivation and goal setting. So when we talk about the motivation and goal setting, we're looking at outcomes and striving for improvement, because when we have that expectation upon ourselves, we can use it to shape what we want to do. So if we have a set point, it's something that we can work towards. It can give us a sense of purpose. It gives us something that we want to work towards. So it can help us prioritize our efforts in life. um, when we say, okay, I want to reach this by this point, whether it's our age, whether it's a student working towards a certain grade, we can motivate ourselves. Learning and growth, we can create opportunities, we can create experiences, and it can help us adjust our approach accordingly. And that's always nice, to help us lay out plans and purposes, and it can help guide our behavior, help us navigate situations, um, and help us align our goals to reach certain expectations. So that's the good part, right?
Yep, absolutely. And the not so well, the good part is what I was just talking about for myself, like to
Mhm.
have some expectations there. Otherwise, I've got nothing to reach for, right?
Yes.
Yes. And the downside, I'm guessing, is my first comment
Yeah,
about your expectations of others.
absolutely. So now the bad part. Let's get to the bad
Yeah.
part.
Yeah.
So the disappointment and stress. So when the expectations are not met, you put undue burdens on yourself. So it can lead to disappointment. It can lead to frustration, increased stress level. You're like, oh my goodness, I didn't get the job, or I didn't make the grade, or I didn't finish the race. Especially when you're unrealistic. So I am a physician. I am not a rocket scientist. So I can't expect to go out and become a rocket scientist if that is not my specialty. So if I have an unrealistic goal, I'm putting undue disappointment and stress on myself. It can cause strain on relationships when there's unrealistic and unmet expectations on your partner, on your husband, leading to conflict and resentment if it's not managed properly. Because we see that in relationships all the time. It can lead to breakups, it can lead to divorce. Then you can have negative emotions. So you're striving to meet high expectations, and again, you get unnecessary anxiety and sadness, and then sometimes even anger. And then you have this perfectionism and pressure. So you have this high expectations fueled by perfectionism. So sometimes you want everything to be perfect, and let's be realistic. We can't all be perfect, and things can't always be perfect. So we have to be practical about the level of perfectionism that we can achieve, and we have to be realistic. And sometimes that reality bumps heads and causes undue stress and strain.
I, I'm thinking about the expression, if I were you, I would have, or I feel like, and these were trigger uh, phrases growing up, because if I did something and it was something that someone else didn't like, then they would articulate their expectations as if I should have said
Mhm.
that, done that, and all of that. And so that's the expectation hell. And I think we can say hell. I hope we can say hell.
We looked it
We
up. We
said it
can.
like 5 times
Yeah.
now. Otherwise, I'll be editing and owing myself a shopping trip for the bad words FCC regulation prohibits. However, I did look this up, didn't I?
Yes.
It's
Yes. It's
okay,
okay.
right?
Yes, it
It's
is
okay.
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 We looked it up. Yes.
Um, But I think because of that, my sensitivity around if I were you is really heightened. And one of the things that I do with diversity consulting and teaching is point out that people aren't like you. They don't think like you. And the expectation that they think like you is out of whack. And people don't like hearing that because they go, well, it's common sense. And I go, well, common sense is uncommon and a reflection of the changing world that we live in. That if you have everybody like you, that's called a dictatorship or a homogenous, world, which would be extremely boring if everybody thought the same way, even though you would never know it from the way that we all want, the only this way. That's what leads to genocide. So yeah, that's my reaction to that.
Absolutely. I think that right now the expectation should only be on yourself. You should not force expectations onto other people. You can have hopes for other people, but you shouldn't have expectations. I think it's reasonable to have expectations for your leaders, but not necessarily force things upon people because that's unrealistic. I think even for our children, we can always have hopes for them, but I don't think it's realistic to force things upon people. And we always talk about shoulding
Yes,
and you should and I should and we should, and you shouldn't go around shoulding on yourselves
that's right.
because it's just not a practical thing to do and it's an unrealistic thing to do.
And it's not
And
nice.
no, it's not nice, and we need to be kinder because we are the humankind, and we need to be more kind to one another and kind to ourselves. And I think it's just a practical thing to do, and we need to find the balance.
It's all about balance. That's my trademark. Yeah, it is expectations. I actually, in my learning and teaching of the law of attraction, the word that is used instead of expectation is desire. So I can have a desire for somebody to act a certain way, or I can have a desire for somebody to, especially children. I think that's the huge, big one, right? I have the desire for my daughters to have a very well paying job so that they can have the money to enjoy the
Mhm.
creature comforts of life, but to expect them to want the same things is crazy making. So it
Mhm.
is a desire of mine now, not to say I want you to find a job that pays you a lot. I say I I I trust that my parenting, which wasn't perfect, it was better than the last generation. That's our only job, is to be better than our parents were, just a little, right? And that my desire for you is to be happy 88% of the time, however you define that. So even society's pressure around the expectation that success equals high notoriety, high material wealth, high household name, so to speak, that expectation has led to a lot of craziness because people who have met that expectation have not necessarily been very happy. Kate Spade, Anthony Bourdain, Robin Williams, the list goes on, where that expectation led to dis-ease at the very least with life. So we got to be really careful about examining the unspoken, subconscious, rehearsed, habitual expectations that have placed on us by parents or teachers or society, to really look at, who's the boss of my expectations.
Absolutely. And I think a lot of times when we look at our expectations and when we reflect on what our strengths are, we will see that we can do and we can reflect on what's realistic in our capabilities and what we can actually achieve within us. And we can manifest that because we can achieve our wildest dreams when we really reflect on our capabilities.
Absolutely. Yes. Let's come back and talk about that more, specifically expectations on ourselves. But it's time for a break for news, weather, and traffic on KCAA, the station that leaves no listener behind. AM 1050, FM 106.5, home to the Asian Oprah, number one talk in the IE. Thank you very much. So we'll be back in 2 and 2, as Chuck Woolery used to say. Rest in peace. But I say peace in, peace out. Don't go away. We'll be right back with more Doctors in the House with myself and
Dr. Tiffanie Tate.
Don't go away. We'll be right back.
Take back your life with Dr. Marissa Pei.
Hi, my name is Dr. Tiffanie Tate, and I am a servant, a listener, and a medical doctor, and I am running to be California's 41st District, United States House of Representative candidate. My interest in becoming a physician started when I was volunteering with my church mission. So please visit Dr. DRTATEFOR Congress CONGRESS.com. Learn about me and my platform. You will see that I am willing to represent you, whether you are a libertarian, an independent, red or blue. I am willing to represent you and your interests. While I am a Democratic candidate, I am willing to represent you and your interests. Paid for by Dr. Tate for Congress.
Take back your life with Dr. Marissa Pei.
And welcome back. You're tuned in to Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show here on KCAA, NBC News, CNBC News, NBC Sports Radio Station, AM 1050, FM 106.5, streaming everywhere, iHeartRadio, Spotify, and of course my YouTube TV channel, where if you free subscribe, give us the finger, this one, not the other one, you'll get an alert every weekday morning to tune in to a show about hope and happiness. And as you can see from who's in the studio, it is time for Straight Talk with Dr. Marissa and
Dr. Tiffanie Tate.
And we're talking about
expectations.
Yes. And I said that we would come back and welcome. I see eyeballs in the studio. If you would like to be part of this conversation, just go ahead and identify, except if you're driving. Please do not chat while you are driving. Instead, wait till you're safely somewhere to join us in this conversation about expectations. And I wanted to spend a little time on our expectations of ourselves. This is a topic that I've been teaching and preaching and speaking about personal mastery, that the tendency to be so hard on ourselves with expectations that are very unrealistic because we want to be perfect. And if we're not perfect, we'll go slide into procrastination, which is, I've always wanted to be a procrastinator and never got around to it. I would say, don't quit my day job, but I actually am a stand-up comedian now, so I can't say that anymore. But if you don't catch yourself at procrastination, you'll go into paralysis because you just don't want to try anything because you don't even think that you can get it perfect, and or you've experienced some imperfection and are reeling from it and think you're a horrible parent or a horrible person or a horrible doctor or whatever you do. So then you don't do anything. And that expectation has led to a dis-ease in so many people who are one of a kind, wonderful, but they cannot feel it, see it, acknowledge it because they're so hard on themselves and have unrealistic expectations of themselves. I'm sure you've looked this up, Dr. Tiffanie.
Yeah. And so basically, I think you have to find a balance. And the realistic expectations it means you have to cultivate a way in which you find that balance. And when you're trying to find the balance, you have to acknowledge what is practical and what is impractical. And like I made the analogy before, as a medical physician, although I am a scientist of the body. I am not a rocket scientist. And so I can't say, okay, I am going to go and build a spaceship. That is not my forte. So I have to be practical about what I can do and about what I can't do. So you can't ask me questions about rocket scientist stuff. But if you want to ask me information about women's health, I can answer those questions because I am still a board certified OBGYN. So I can talk to you about women's health all day long. But if you want to ask me questions about rocket science, well, I'm going to have to defer to you to somebody else because I'm going to stay in my lane with regard to my knowledge base.
Yeah. I'm going to put the moose on the table, which is my Canadian version of talking about the elephant in the room. And I want to talk to women right now because not that men are not important, but I think women's expectations of themselves, particularly, is way out of whack, even more so than men because of the changes in our society where, I'm grateful that the equal pay, equal access. We are doing so many different things now that we weren't allowed to do or expected to do, as the expectation was put on you to just run for the school board. Don't worry about the government. That's too much for you, little lady, right? That unspoken message. But the reality that many women do this to themselves because they want to be the best at work and they also want to be the best at home. And there's only so much time in a day, and time is a non-renewable energy. And so I get to coach women who come to me who seem to have it all. They want it all. They're doing it all, but they're like this close to going to that place of paralysis and not leaving the house at all anymore. So went from overachieving 80 hours at work and at home to 0 or crying all the time because they have bucked down and just done it and now are so exhausted. They'll come down with a chronic health condition, so often because your body will take that stress and internalize it. And you may think you're fine until you break down. So, for women especially, I hope you're listening to this talk on expectations because the buck stops right over here. And we have to begin saying, I want to spend time with my kids in the formative years, 1 through 6. I will have time to be a rock star at work afterwards. I'm not going to be behind. I will just be where I am. And I won't beat myself up at work if I have to, go home when everybody else does so that I can be of service to my kids. And I'm not going to beat myself up at home when there is an emergency at work and I have to take away for an hour what time I would have spent with my kid there. Wherever you are, be there. Do not beat yourself up for where you're not. That is my balanced, happy 88 coaching for all the women out there who have a tendency to expect from themselves and land in hell.
Absolutely. And I think a lot of times we have to not let the disappointment impact us to the extent that it can. Like you said, some women will go home and lock themselves in the house. And even some men, I can't just minimize it and say women, people, I don't want to make it a gender issue. People will let it debilitate them and cripple them and stifle them and let it curtail their dreams.
Yes.
And, there's a song by Donnie McClurkin that says, "We fall down, but on the upside, we get up." And it's okay. There's another song that says, "I get knocked down, but I get up again. You're never going to keep me down." So remember that you're never going to keep me down. You have to get knocked down. And life will knock you down, but you have to get back up. And so expectations, you will get knocked down. Things will take the air out of you, but you have to get back up again. You have to keep fighting. You have to be resilient. And that's the expectation. Things are going to come at you. Life comes at you fast, and you will have the air knocked out of you. And when that comment came at me, I was like, whoa, that came out of left field. I didn't see that one coming. I was like, okay, I'm a board certified OBGyn. I've overcome many obstacles in my life. I understand policy way better than some of these other people who don't understand the difference between, some of the different health policies that are going before Congress, and they don't understand the ramification and the fallout of how it's going to affect people more than I do as a practicing physician. And I'm thinking, and you're telling me I should sit on the sidelines? Wow. That was all I can say was wow. But when people come at you like that and life comes at you fast, you have to just take a beat, take a breath, and keep persevering and keep pushing.
Mm-hmm. And I'm going to balance that a bit with, if you schedule in imperfect time for yourself. So one day a month, I do nothing because I know that I do a lot, 8 jobs. I know that I need to give myself permission to do nothing or be imperfect. And the reason why I agree, Dr. Tiffanie, that it's also men, but I have to say that women, they are built, this is not a stereotype, but I mean, we carry the child, right? Men do not carry the child inside of their bodies. We're made that way. There's certain things that we are better equipped to do than men are. That is the difference. It's not sexism. It's not misogynistic or feminologistic. I don't know what the opposite of that is, but the expectation of women is that we are, now that we are, taking over the workforce, so to speak, and not being limited to just a secretary, executive assistant, or a nurse, right?
Right.
But we also have a tendency to still want to be the best at everything else. That's why I'm saying for women, cleaning is not something that comes naturally to a man who's used to going to work to bring home the bacon. That's an old BS belief system, but it still, operates here. And if you have that expectation that you're also going to bring home some bacon and still do the chores and still do the homework and still do the cooking, and that's like crazy. Well, my husband isn't a good cook. Well, there's learning, cooking school, but there has to be a give. The most common thing that I see with women who do too much is that they are not putting the oxygen over their self first and then taking care of others. They're taking care of others, taking care of others, taking care of others, and then they drop. So
Right.
that's why I want that point for women to sink in. It's a little bit of tough love.
You are right. I will agree with you because women do a lot of self-sacrificing. We absolutely do. And I think it's important to definitely focus on the process and think about what it is you are trying to achieve, because there is an expected end, and focus on your goals. And when you focus on your goals, you can definitely see it. And if you can see it, you can achieve it.
I'm glad you brought up goals. One of the things that I see as a missed take for many women and men are goals like, I'm going to lose 30 pounds in 6 months. I'm going to get a raise in a year. I'm going to get promoted in 6 months. I'm going to bring in 100,000 more a year by this date. Or those are even companies. As an organizational psychologist, they'll say we want to increase market share by 7% in 1 year. And it's like, where did the frick did you get the numbers that you're pulling out, and now you're putting in your strategic plan without any kind of logic or strategy to even think that you could reach those numbers? You're putting the entire organization in a point of stress that is not necessary. Same thing with women, same thing with men, same thing with personal life. I'm going to get married by such and such a date. Blah, blah. It's like, where are you getting these numbers from, and who's putting a gun to your head to give you these stupid stretch goals that are only going to stress you out?
Yeah, and if you're not dating and you don't have any responsibility attached to it, there needs to be some expectation with some responsibility and some behavior attached to it, because you can't have some practicality. Well, you need some practicality attached to it. And when you have some expectations, you have to be realistic, and you don't want to have expectations without reality attached. And I think it's important to be responsible when you're being when you have some behaviors. So just focus, I want to say, when you're thinking about these things, because we don't want to have any of those shoulds in there. We just want to be focused. We want to be realistic with our expectations. If you're not dating anyone, I understand you want to have a vision, and I think it's nice if you want to have vision boards and things like that. I think everyone wants to have a manifestation of their realities. I think it's fine however you want to live your life. But I think there's a difference between expectations and responsibilities and how they intertwine.
Yeah. Expectations. Let me give you a practical example. I wake up in the morning and I used to have a things that I want to accomplish today list, right? And it was crazy. I mean, it was like so long, and it was so unbelievably if it was an alternative reality, I may have gotten everything done. But the reality is, there's some things I cannot control, number one, right? So I can't make something happen if I don't have 100% control over it, number one. Number two, people do not factor in that interruptions are a part of things that you have to do. So when I work with my clients in companies, they factor in time for interruptions, which is actually achieving your goal. Because if someone calls and needs you in a meeting that came up, that's part of your job. It's not something that didn't let you get your work done. That is your work, right? So that's one. Two, I don't have that list anymore. I have a sheet that says, these are things that I'm going to accomplish today that I would like to accomplish. And these are things that I'd like my UPS man, my universal power source, to take care of because I have no control over it. So that makes me a farmer, and all I do is plant seeds. So if I would like to speak in this place, I don't go, all right, deliver me a speaking engagement. I can't wait to get called, right? I do the seed planting, which is I contact businesses, unity churches, Chamber of Commerce, and say, TV, morning shows, come into town, and this is who I am, and would you like me to speak? And that's the work that I do. And then if it doesn't happen, it's not the right time. No reflection on me, no reflection on what I should be doing. That's what I do, so that I'm very clear that I'm going to be doing whatever I'm supposed to be doing. And if I'm not doing what I want to be doing, that means it's always this or better. So something else is going to come up that's going to later on down the line, I'm going to go, oh, that's why I didn't do that. Or that's why it turned out that way.
Well, one thing I did find is that there are 4 different types of expectations, which I thought was pretty interesting. There's an upholder, an obliger, a questioner, and a rebel. Have you heard of that? So, an upholder readily meets outer expectations, but struggles to meet inner expectations. An obliger meets outer expectations, but struggles to meet inner expectations. A questioner investigates all expectations, both outer and inner expectations. And a rebel resists all expectations, both outer and inner alike. Yeah.
What was the second one again? The second one to me sounded like the first one. So the
It
second
says,
one.
so an obliger, they meet the outer expectations, but they struggle to meet the inner expectations.
That's like Penelope, the people pleaser.
Yes.
Okay.
So they'll help other people's expectations, but not their own.
Or codependency.
Yes.
Yes.
And so,
Okay. So the first one is you meet the inner without meeting the outer.
So yeah, the upholder is readily meets outer expectations, but struggles to meet the inner expectations. So they're like ambivalent. So like sometimey.
Okay.
So they're like on the line. So they're like, well, sometimes I'll do it, sometimes I won't.
Oh, instead of saying, I'm going to do what I want, screw you. Which one is that? Is that?
Yeah. So the upholder readily meets outer. So it's like, okay, I'll do everything for everybody else, and sometimes I'll meet my own.
Okay. And the second one, I thought that was people pleaser.
Yes. The obliger is the people pleaser, and a questioner investigates all expectations.
Okay.
and the rebel just outright refuses everything.
Yeah. There isn't a category then for the one that I'm talking about, is that I'm going to uphold my expectations of myself and screw you. There isn't that one there. So I'm going to make up another category because that's where I am. As you can tell, I'm going to do, that's not true. It's not me. It is my, what I'm here to do, right? Let my will be aligned with thine. What now, brown cow? What is it that I'm supposed to be doing, saying? That's my internal guidance system.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so
New category. I'm going to call that the
strange.
Dr. Marissa holder.
Yeah. But I thought that was strange because I think some people would meet their own expectations.
Yeah.
And I would like to meet my own expectations.
Yeah. I mean, kind. I'm going to say kind, balanced expectation equals desire, and then I'm going to give this tool that I use with my clients that really helps if you're a person who has unrealistic expectations of yourself. Every night before you go to bed, every day when you leave the office, write it down and put it on a Post-it on your computer. It says, have I done the best that I can with the time that I had and the resources I had today? Okay. That way I can leave work at work and then go be at home. Because if you don't do that, you're going to take your work home and you're going to feel bad that you didn't finish everything at work. And then you're going to go home and be trying to do the work and manage your home. And you're not going to be able to do both. And you're going to feel bad about not being able to do that too. So you're just going to feel bad all the time, which is against my Happy 88 mission, 88 million more happy people in the next 8 years. So hello, folks. Here's your practical tool. Cut yourself some freaking slack at work at the end of the day and then at home before you go to bed.
Absolutely. And I think all we can do is be the best that we can be. And when it comes to expectations, you don't have to meet anyone else's expectations but your own. You are living your life for yourself. And like I said in the beginning, don't let anyone try to put you in a box. There is no box. And as long as you remember that, you are in control of your own destiny and you can do what you want to do. You can be what you want to be, and you can manifest the future that you want. So,
Great final word from Dr. Tiffanie. Mine is, I don't have a box either. I have an egg carton with lots of different pockets for the different things that I love to do. Thank you, Dr. Tiffanie. As usual, great research, great topic, great components of the topic. Always fun to play with you on camera, on the air. This is another scintillating episode of Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show on my very special series, Doctors in the House, with myself and
Dr. Tiffanie Tate.
And remember, it's all about balance. Peace in, peace out, world peace through, inner peace. Take us out, Dr. Tiffanie.
Now go and have the best day ever.
I'll see you tomorrow. Throwback Thursdays.
Take